Hello guys, and welcome back to Turn 4. As you can remember on our last video, we're on lipstick here again, and when we were underneath putting those shocks under the rear, you could see that diff cover was leaking. That's kind of a common thing, the weeping, I guess, of that. This one's more of a starting to drip, and I want to get in there. I don't know what kind of situation it's in. The front end was locked up. I did fix that, and that was the E-locker that was locked in place. There is an E-locker in this one too because it is a Rubicon. So we're going to dig into that, pull it off, clean it up real quick, and just shoot a video of it. Kind of check on that locker, just make sure that little retaining ring in there is good. And just clean everything out, reseal it, put new rear end grease in it. That way we're good to go, and it's one less thing we got to worry about. Before we start, let's go ahead and get a word from our sponsors here. Okay, we'll get around back here, the camera down, and we'll take a look at that rear end. We'll lower this down, and I'll show you kind of some tools that we're going to need to do this. It's a quick, pretty easy job. It's intimidating to some, I guess, you know, because leaks, because you have it. It's no big deal. We're going to we'll go over some things and then get right back. All right, guys. So here we are underneath the rear. And so we'll go over some stuff we need here. 13.5 inch. You're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 bolts for this cover. Something to take off. There's a little retaining clip up here to take off this wire. And it's just one of those little Christmas trees in here. I've got a little tool, just an interior tool to pull this. You don't need that. You can use pretty much anything to get it out of there. If you break it, put a little zip tie on there. Just try not to pull on that wire too hard. Mine has a wire, obviously, because it's got diff lockers in it, because it's a Rubicon. So what we'll do first, let's see here. So again, excuse me, 3/8 ratchet. I got an extension on here, may or may not, just depending on where you're at on here. These are usually about 30 foot-pounds is what these cover bolts are. So I've got a ratchet for that. I got a screwdriver to pop this loose. There is a plug here and a plug here, drain plug back there, a plug up here. I'm probably just going to pop this and let this run, and then I'll open that drain plug after instead of squirting it over here. Just because we're going to clean it anyway. If you're just wanting to change it, of course, you can pop that plug out, and that's just uses the end of a 3/8 inch ratchet, both of these. And anyway, you can pop that, drain it. If you're just going to refill, we're going to clean this one out and take a look at the locker real quick, make sure everything's good in there, make sure there's no metal. You'll need some, I use gray RTV. This is just some JB Weld RTV and make a gasket. You can buy numerous gaskets for this. You can buy replaceable gaskets or reusable gaskets for this that you can screw down and take back off if you want to clean again. We're not going to be in and out of this thing all the time, so I use RTV. It seals good. If I was on the trail or something and thinking maybe I would be having to pop the cover off the diff and stuff, I might put a reusable on, but if not, just bring that with you and something to clean it with. Razor blade to scrape with, or if you have a scraper of some type, just to scrape and prep both sides. I also do have this little disc right here that I'll probably clean it up with, just see how it works on there. That's what I use for a lot of the gaskets. Just try to keep from grooving it up when you do clean it. And I may use this just when I pop these out. Obviously, guys, you don't need anything. I mean, if you have a half, you have a 13th, you can use a ratchet to do this. I'll just try to speed it up just a little bit. Plenty of rags. And for this job, since this rear end grease, which again I use Lucas, I'm using Lucas 75-140 synthetic on this. It calls for 75-90 or depending on the duty you're going to use. I just put the heaviest stuff in there. Synthetic will work if you have limited slip rear end. Also, it works on everything, so you don't have to worry about putting an additive in. That'll be about it on there. I did buy 2 quarts. I don't even know what this takes. You're just going to fill it up till it starts weeping, and then we'll put the plug back in after we're done. This fluid's nasty. It smells. It's rear end grease, so be prepared for that. And what I did is I'm going to wear a pair of Who's Next gloves. We'll put these on and protect our hands since, again, like I said, this is not my daily job. So I got to halfway keep clean here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get our 13.5, excuse me, back up. Before, since you're going to have this off and you're not going to have any leverage on it, go ahead and pop your fill. And you may get some fluid out of this. I'm guessing since this one's leaking, or probably not. And they are on there pretty good. I think there's about like 40 pounds, I want to say. 40 foot-pounds, something like that. We're draining, so despite that leak, we still have plenty in it. Just like me, they probably overfill these a little bit. I like to put a little extra in just for the fact that you're going to be slinging some. And so anyway, there's that. Take our 13, break these loose. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. That one may have to get a shorter wrench on right there. Get something to bump the end of that with. Get a dead blow or something real quick here. I don't know that this has ever been off, and really you don't have to, because I mean this fluid's good unless you have an issue. But I didn't buy it, or didn't own it from new, so you know, you always wonder if there's been water in it. You know, you never know. So we're gonna make sure, since we had that leak anyway. Anytime I buy something, I like to go through this anyway. This one's going to be a little bit bigger right here because it is on the cross link here. So, go with the 13.5 wrench and break that one loose. I do have a ratchet wrench here. These things are worth their weight in gold. We'll bump this. Okay, now we're just going to, I am going to cheat here for a second. I've got some more batteries ordered for this GoPro. These things are running down so fast. These things are terrible. Terrible as far as the life on these batteries. I'll go through a job, which I'm slow anyway, but I'll go through these partway through a job, and I have to go charge this thing. I've got some batteries coming, but as of now, I've only got one. Trying to just get started here, and man, these things just do not last. And I guess I didn't mention either what we're going to use on this. I'm going to use some brake clean to spray this all out. Any type of cleaner degreaser that sprays in here. And like I said, this stuff, Diff fluid's nasty. Stinks, gets on you. Has to, not that I care, but other people care when I go to work. I want to be clean to do this. And this stuff is, we've got one right behind here. I don't know if you can see it or not. And again, like I said, I'm cheating. That is, there's 2 for this bracket. So we want to remember the orientation of that. That's just with the E-locker hooks on. If you guys don't have a locker, you won't have that 2-wire system there, I don't believe. So that'll go up on top. So we'll make sure that orientation is correct on that. And I'm going to leave one in. Let's go ahead and back this one out over here. I'm just going to leave one in and crack this. Crack this, and it's all going to come pouring out. We'll just do that first. Sorry. Okay, we want to be careful not to bend our lid here, our diff cover. And we've got everything out but that top one. The only reason why I'm leaving that on there is just to something for it to hang on when I crack it here. I mean, it's as controlled as we can. I need a little bit of a hammer here, just to try not to mess up your cover too bad. There we go. We'll pop it. Kind of have a controlled spill here. We'll loosen this top one that I have left in a little bit. Taking it out, loosening it. It's a lot quicker than letting it drain. And to me, it's more control when I'm squirting out the side, but I mean, either way you want to do it. We'll want to clean that out though, that plug. Take it out, clean it out, spray everything down in here. And then we'll coat everything before we put it back in, make sure it's dry before we do it. So anyway, that's that. We got it down. So I'm going to go ahead and hold on to this, run this out. Like I said, I don't know if anybody's ever been into this or not. It does have some rear RTV in it now. But it looks pretty factory. You can see some metal flakes in there, and some's pretty normal for a rear end. I mean, as long as you don't have big chunks. We won't inspect the gears just a little bit, make sure there's no chunks. This one does have an E-locker in it, as I said, because it is a Rubicon. So that's where you're gonna have, this is the magneto right here, and what it does is you change polarities and it pushes or pulls just like a regular magnet. If you flipped it over, it opposes or it grabs. And then there's a flat plate right here, and what that does is locks in the locker and out. I haven't had one of these apart just to see exactly what is all in there. I can kind of imagine what's in there as far as locking it in. Another little clutch pack with pack with it, kind of a gear set in there too to lock everything in. I can see some of the pins. As on the front one, this had locked over and locked the rear diff, or the front diff, excuse me, and wouldn't come loose. And that's pretty common with these because either the magnet goes bad, you have a bad continuity to the power running to that reverses the polarity on that. I guess power on, power off. And then they get all grimy. Nobody uses them, they decide to lock them in, or they accidentally lock them in and then they won't come back out. And as you can see in here, I mean, they get nasty pretty quick, but these are pretty volatile, I'm guessing, with that. In the bottom here is a lot of sludge. So I don't mind. I mean, to me, you can't change anything too much. Whether you need to or not, I think they're good for like 100,000 or something on this. But again, if you've been in the water, you don't know what they've done here. So anyway, we're just going to get some brake clean all this up, flush everything out. I'm going to pull this plug that is right here. Again, it's just a 3/8 plug, just like what we took out of the diff there. I think to get in there, we'll probably have to have a little extension. We'll go ahead and pop that out too. Oh, and if I pull away every now and then here, I'm on dog duty again. Not that kind, but that kind right there. Little shop dog's out today sunning, so I'm in control of him because she's at work. So trying to do this, so I apologize. Okay, let's see where we're at here. What I'm going to do here, we're going to clean out this. Also, we pop that plug like a bad hunting dog. As soon as I think of something else, I go on the... May have to clean that out. Yep, we're stuffed full, so I'll have to take a screwdriver, clean that out. It's just a square. I want to try to get this done before I run out of battery power. Like I said, these things, these GoPro 13s, man, they're terrible on battery power. I haven't even looked at the video yet, so I don't know. I mean, I know I'm terrible, but I don't know how the camera's doing. I have no excuse. This one here, because it is packed full. As you're so close, you can listen to me here. We're in grunt, fart, and wheeze mode here on the camera since you're right beside me. I apologize for that. You guys get to hear everything with me. Okay. I was expecting that to bottom out a little further, but it doesn't. Just the top half went in. For some reason, I don't know why. I was thinking that 3/8 would go down past the spring ball there on it, but it did not. I want to look at this. Really don't have a lot of, I mean, it's gunky, look at that. But that's normal every one I pull. If you look at the back, it's silver. So there is, I mean, it's pretty common to have some. You have big chunks, we got issues. If you just have some shiny, that's normal. That is a magnetic plug that we were getting into. And you can see it's nasty, guys. Try to get some gloves on. There's your hole. And it's right back there, and you can see we're draining. We're gonna let this drain for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna clean it out. I'm not gonna show you just spraying this down with brake clean and everything. You guys know how to clean stuff. There's nothing to that. And then we're gonna clean up the seal mating surface here. Get all that silicone off, because we like to do things one time if we can. Okay, so give me a couple minutes. I'm going to clean this up. Take either a scraper or or if you have a buffing wheel or something, or whatever you choose. Just go over this good and try not to gouge it up too bad. Let me do this, and we'll go on to the next thing. Okay, so we got our mating surfaces clean here, as you can see. I'll tell you what, that disc really made a big difference on there. If you have to do it with the blade, I mean, I've done it with the blade a lot of times, but it does clean it up good. It's a lot quicker. Take your time. Take your time, get everything clean. I like trying to do things just one time. But you know what they say, 5th time's a charm, especially in celebrities and marriage. So we'll try to do it one time correctly here. So what I like to do is I like to run a bead here, run around the circles, run a bead, run around the circle, run around the circle, or run around the circle, connect the beads. That's what I find works good. Leave it for about 5 or 10 minutes just to get kind of skin a little bit, and then just squeeze her on. This is just gray RTV. This is the ultimate gray JB Weld. There's a lot of different companies make this stuff. Just I've always used the gray. Seems to work all right. And I'm just going to make some good circles around this. I've never had any real issues doing it this way. Try to keep your hands out of it if you can. But no big deal, they make more if you run out. Just Go back over it again. If you have too much squish out inside, whatever outside, it's not going to hurt anything, guys. I mean, you're talking about steel gears running together. Try to keep as much as you can out, but you're not going to hurt anything. At least I haven't ever. And I used to put some pretty massive beads. Probably had more silicone on the inside than I had on the outside. Didn't have any issues. So now I've made some circles around each one of those. That kind of needs one of those squeezing things. Anyway, I'm just connecting. Pretty good bead there. And you guys can comment on there and tell me what you do. If you like something better, you know, buy you a $30–40 gasket, and this is about, what, $7 a bottle here, and this is my second time using it. This is what I used on the front. It hasn't leaked yet. And I just stuck my glove in the back side of that, so we'll go back over that part. No big deal. Just do what works for you. This has worked for me. And we'll have all kinds of good stuff squeezed out, but that's kind of how I like to do it. Okay, so we'll probably let this, let's let this skin for about, I don't know, just a few minutes here. Nothing really. I still want to squeeze out and squish. It kind of, it seals on the outside first. You know, it kind of skins, and then the inside's squishy. I guess I just do it in case I lightly, especially when it's tight places or something like that, when I lightly rub against things, I don't like for it to smear all over as much. Anyway, the orientation, check the orientation of this when you do it. As you can see on ours, it has that little swoop up here that holds the electric locker. The plug goes on the right side here because your gear set's going to run in here. And just make sure everything's cleaned out of there. And then bolts. I kind of cleaned up my bolts here, as you can see. But the big thing to this, what I like to do is make sure that when you have a bunch of silicone that's sticking out, it's protruding, there'll be a little chunk on the end of that. Knock that off. That way that screw can bottom out. You want that bolt all the way in there, and you don't want it holding up. We're going to torque these just because that's who I am. Really, if you're out somewhere, I mean, you know, just feel where it's at, squeeze out good, and kind of go cross pattern on these. That's what we're going to do here, like you would a wheel or anything, just to keep from squeezing one side in before. And we're just going to put them in loosely first, and then go on around it. But anyway, it calls for 30 foot-pounds on these. These are 5/16 bolt with a 1/2 inch or 13 millimeter head, whatever you want. But they call for 30 foot-pounds. So I will, like I said, just being who I am, I will go back around this. Just give that a second here. Scan. So make sure everything's clean, didn't forget anything. You see that little bead running down here? I like to get that out of there, because let's move this back too. See, it's messy, but that's a solvent that I've put on there, obviously, to clean that out. So probably brake clean. So it's not going to want our silicone to seal on there. So let's make sure we get that off, and that's probably a lot of their issue when they did do this in the first place. If they redid it, I don't know if this has ever been into or not, but Probably had a little bit of fluid running down there or something, or it just decided to leak. But I can't imagine with this thing's got 69,000 on it. I can't imagine it being too being done already in that amount of miles. Anyway, I'm going to try to get this halfway dry, then I'm going to stick that up, and the rest will just let weep out the hole. We want to make sure we squirt some fluid across this once we get in. I'd like to do it from the first, but if you do it from the first, we have dripping down, then we're going to worry about it leaking again because we're trying to cover fluid. So, again, I'm going to set this up, see if I can make a terrible mess of this. At least one of our bolts here, and I'm just going to try to put it up here and squish it on about where it needs to be. There's that bolt hole. Let's line that up, and then we'll put one in the opposing corner here, over the top here, just to get us lined up and to start going. Okay, there's two. Again, we got our drain plug right side right there. Right side if you're facing it, passenger side. And we can put this in. I'm just going to go ahead and start this, make sure. I try to start them all by hand. If you have a grimy hole, you can deal with it still. And then we'll try to torque all but that one. Remember, we can't reach. I'm not taking a link bar. You could probably jack it up, get it to lay down a little bit, and get to that one. But as you can see, I haven't jacked this rear end up. It might be better when you're cleaning it out to get the nose up so you can get everything back. But just make sure you have it flat when you're checking your fluid after you've added. And we will hit this with some VHT after, just to clean it up. We're down to the two holes in the bracket. This one has this bracket here. Like I said, if you don't have a locker, this is probably not an issue. I should have shot this before. Should have cleaned it up, hit it a little bit, but it's not going to bother anything. So now we'll start that bolt. Should have two more to put in. Brackets in place, that way we can hook our electric wire up to where our locker is. Guys, this is simple. Just take your time. Biggest thing on this thing is cleaning things up. It takes forever to, like usual, cleaning the surface, depending on how good you want to do it. You have to make it 500 miles home. Yeah, I can throw it on in 3 seconds and just do that as well. I mean, just to get you there. I can make it hold until then, but we're going to be driving this a lot of miles, and I'm going to do this hopefully one time. That's the idea anyway. But I want to get this squeezed out before this fluid starts going through here. Running back our solvent. The drier the better on that solvent before we put this back together, but I'm trying to get this video done. Gonna get a daily tomorrow. Work a couple of days. I got a day off, so I'm doing it. And one more thing off the list. Start squeezing out a little bit of fluid here, a little bit of RTV. Getting this thing sealed up. I'm just squeezing this kind of hand tight here. Again, guys, this is pretty anal retentive. Oh, and another thing I can say, make sure when you clean all your stuff off, you do it right in front, right where you're working. That way you can waller in it after you're done and trying to put this stuff on. You want as much crap as you can right in front of you here, so you can try to really pull your creeper over it. And, you know, you want to clean your stuff right where you're laying. That's always been my thing anyhow. Okay, so the only one I couldn't get to, remember, is this one here. And I will go back and torque. You guys don't need to see the anal retentiveness of me torquing stuff, but I'll get my torque stick, set it up to 30, and like I said, it's just because of who I am, and I want to show it doing it semi-correct when you're watching. That's why I'm making these videos. Those are 5/16 bolts that are in there. It does call for 30 foot-pounds. We get our tool up to 30. As this is a really cheap torque stick here, I don't even have the, I think these are like 15 bucks at one time or something. I don't know if I bought Harbor Freight or what, but it's nice to have one. This one I think will go up to about, what, 80 pounds, this one here. So for small stuff like this is good. And again, do what you want to do. You do not have to torque this stuff. Nothing says you do. As far as, you know, nobody's going to grade your work, but with me, I am going to try to torque this stuff. I'll try to move over here. Anyway, you get the gist. I'm going to go back and forth in a crisscross pattern. Here, 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 here. Just like you would a wheel. 30 foot-pounds, and then we'll put our plug back in, probably put a little bit of gray on it to seal it up, and then we'll start putting some fluid in. Hey, while we're letting that silicone dry, quick pro tip for the day. To go along with the, what you do is you like to clean your parts in front of you when you're on your belly. Make sure you clean your parts in your area, that way you can waller in it good and you know, smell like Diff fluid and get that stuff on your butt. To go along with that, a pro tip, if you have anything you got to get from not even close to a Dollar General up the way like we do, right when you get in there and you've wallered in that and you're waiting for your silicone to dry, make sure you drive up to the Dollar General and get what you want, because I'm telling you what, when you walk in, everybody just parts like the Red Sea, because you smell and you know you have that all over you, and you go right up to the front. And I mean, women, children, you know, the guys who do their nails on Saturdays, they just part like the Red Sea. You run right up to the front, and even if you have change, say it's $1.06, just reach into your pocket, kind of flap around a little bit, and reach down into your pocket like you're going to grab change, and they'll say, no, you just go ahead, I got it, you know, and go through. So pro tip of the day, when you're all nice and you've rolled in it a little bit, head right up there and just get right to the head of the line. So my girlfriend watched one of my videos today and looked at me and said, Shane, you're just not funny. And I said, I know. I said, that's why I call this turning forward, not turning funny. And I know about you guys that work on this stuff and me, but if I see something titled turning funny, you know, that's just not for me. So anyways. So I started thinking while we're back here, we might as well check this diff vent and make sure that we're not, we don't have a diff vent that's clogged, because if we do, it's going to build pressure in there. It's going to try to push out the end seals on here. So this thing, as you can see, has a ton of dust in it. What this does is allows air to escape this way, pressure, but I believe it's just a one-way valve, won't let it go the other way. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to spray It's a little bit of WD on here. I'm going to try to separate this. We'll probably end up buying a new one because I'll just end up breaking it because it's probably brittle. Give it a go here and try to get this end out of here. This end up here is clamped. It was crimped on the metal crimp, so I don't really want to jack with it. That'd definitely be the way the place to go. And that broke loose pretty easy, come out. So what we're going to do is we want to pretend it's our third DUI and it's Friday night and we're trying to start our car, and we'll just go on the end of this, see if we can hear some air in there. See if it's clear. Again, not only can I hear air, I can, depending on your lungs, can feel it blowing out this hole here. So anyway, we are clear there as far as the line goes itself. And I am, so probably, I hate doing this because it'll make it a little bit brittle, but just make sure that's clear as well. That's just a little bit of brake clean, and I know brake clean and plastic, you know, everything's plastic now. Just blow on that right in our face, and anyway, we're clear. So anyway, that's maybe something you want to check, depending on how extensive you want to go, but I just see no reason not to. We don't want to cause a leak if we can keep from it, and you know, dirt gets in here, gets as clogged, this never gets turned, and anyway, it won't escape, so it puts pressure here in the diff and then tries to push it out the diff seals. That might be something you want to do. Routing this, it routes up over the top of the spring, and then this one actually clips on the inside of the inner fender just with one of those little Christmas tree plugs that goes in. So not hard to get up. You can see the light up in there. You can see that little Christmas tree hanging out right in there. That's where the end of that is, and it just goes up over the shock tower there and mounts up in there. We'll do that. I'm still waiting for silicone to dry. I'm going to give it says an hour retorque. Well, sorry, I'm anal retentive, and I am going to wait an hour. I'm going to torque this just to make sure they're at it's tight. I know it'll contract and expand anyway, but I'm going to do that, and it says good 24 hours for cure. Well guys, I'm probably going to wait the 24 hours and then fill it with fluid. I went ahead and left this diff plug out because it is draining some solvent still. I tried to clean up anything I could in there, but I just put that in so it would kind of wick itself out. I just don't want, I mean, you want to get as much solvent as you can. It's not going to hurt anything, but I want to get as much as I can out of there. I did clean all of it out I could, but as it drips. So we're going to let that dry, and then I'll torque it here in a few minutes. Just a 30 foot-pounds. Again, that's a 13.5 inch on those bolts, and just doing a crisscross pattern. Check your vent tube if you want. I think it's a good idea. I mean, you know, it's this one. Been up there for 11 years. I'm sure nobody's touched it, so just to make sure it's good and clear. And then we'll put our plug in and fill it up with a, I don't know what this takes. I've got 75-140 Lucas synthetic, so it's good with, you know, if you have a limited slip rear end. This is a Dana 44. I think most of these have 44s in the rear anyhow. This one does have the EOTech locker in it, but you'll be safe. It's supposed to be safe with the synthetic 75-140. I like putting the heavier duty stuff in, and we will finish all that after this stuff dries. Okay, so after giving this some time to set up here, our RTV grade is set up on this back. We're going to go ahead and put this bottom plug in. Everything's drained out. And the plug you will want to use is this one here that's got a magnet in the inside. Make sure that's all cleaned up. Everything's off there. You can use all kinds of sealers on this. I just put some gray RTV on them and run them in. You can put Teflon, stuff that's made for oil, whatever you want. Make sure these threads are cleaned up good. The one that's going to go in the back of the plug here, the fill area, does not have magnets, flat on the bottom. The one with the magnet, if you want to check it, obviously stick it on there, but you can see that magnet in there. That's the one we're going to put on the bottom here to plug it. So we want to do it first so we don't lose all of our fluid and forget to do this. I'm just going to use some gray RTV on here. I've done it, I haven't had any issues. Don't need a lot on here, just enough to coat the threads. All right, we'll start that right here. Remember, this is a, just use a 3/8 socket, or excuse me, a 3/8 ratchet, and just the end of it right there. I use an extension, that way it kind of sticks in there. I wish if I had a shorter one, it'd be even better, but make sure you start it so you're not cross-threading. And just run it in like you took it out. And again, we're using the magnetic one since it's on the bottom. So if you have any, you're going to have over time, it's going to throw a little bit of metal, not chunks, but it's just good as they wear in. It's going to put some metal on there. So make sure you have the magnetic one in there so everything goes to it and doesn't just keep circulating around inside. Okay, you can just either snug this up good, or for the anal retentive people like me, I will put this on a torque wrench. If you don't have one, no big deal, just snug it up. 25 foot-pounds is what these are supposed to be at. And there's 25. So get that plug in there. And now we'll grab what I've got here. I'm running Lucas synthetic because I know it's good for anything. You got limited slip. This is actual Rubicon, as you know, and it's got a locker in there. But this synthetic's good for just whatever you put it in. If it does have a limited slip, it's not going to hurt it. I am running, I think it does call for like a 90 weight. I'm running 75 140, and under heavy duty, heavy conditions, it's I mean, I like having a little extra, so it's not going to hurt it. So I'm putting 75 140 in it just to give it a little extra thickness for when it does get warm and gets used a lot. Highway and stuff, I imagine the idea is a little less on the weight side. I'm sure it moves easier, and you get, I mean, I guess it could play into mileage and everything else, but anyway, I'm going to use 75 140, excuse me. So we'll just pop the top on this, and you can buy these in the soft ones, the soft squeeze. You can hook your hose up, you can get a pump or whatever for them. Anyway, on this back here, we got plenty of room, I think. So take the top off, pull the cap on it because it does have a seal on it, and then we'll cut that back about right there, and we'll start filling. The idea is here, sorry if my head's in the way. You're going to fill this till this starts running out in order to know whether you're full or not. If it's on the ground, if you're jacked up in the rear, if you got this thing lifted up, either way, you want to make sure that you get it flat on the ground. That way you have a real regular level. If you had the nose down or nose up, it's going to change obviously your level in the back here to fill up. No dipstick. Again, you're just going to fill this out till it starts running out the threads. So we'll go ahead and start. You'll know when we're empty here. You hear the bottle and the air in it. Sounds like the morning after a chilly night. Yep, there it is. All right. I didn't check. You can look it up and see what these take, but it'll take a little over 2 probably. You can put your finger in there and see also where you're at. But on this second one, we'll go a little bit slower. That way we don't overfill and just wait for it and just running high dollar fluid out the back here, because these things are about, this Lucas is about 20 bucks a quart at O'Reilly is what I paid. So we want to save if we can a little bit. We don't want to run it all out on the ground just for nothing. Same thing on this one. Probably run a little, check, run a little. Said this stuff ain't cheap, so I'd rather save what I can on it. I've already done the nose, the front end. As I said, that was the one of the issues why I got this thing cheap, is because I thought the front end was trashed on it. It was just a locker that was the locker was bound up, hadn't been used, so we unstuck it. I did not video that. Not all of you have lockers anyway, but if you have a Rubicon, is kind of a nice thing to know if you're out somewhere and that gets locked, because if these don't get used, even if they do get used, they have a tendency to get stuck once in a while. And you can go through the hole here and pull that plate over that's in there that actuates it, but it ain't easy for sure. I'm just getting a little on the threads here. It's not quite full yet. It may take close to 2. I don't know. I haven't looked it up. But something tells me in my head it was like 1.6 or something quarts. Maybe more than that. Sure, maybe. And there we are. Now that's actually coming out of the rear end. So when it starts doing that, it doesn't matter if you're up past that and it's really coming out. Go ahead and, put your plug in. It ain't gonna hurt to have a little extra in there. We already checked our vent and everything, but I'm gonna look at that drain for a second. I do have a little too much than not enough for sure, and it's not that detrimental that if it's a little over. So anyway, putting some more RTV on this one, and that's just what I'm using. I know if you look, it probably tells you to use some Teflon. That is good for oil. Regular Teflon won't, it'll break down. This oil will break it down, but if you have some Teflon that's made for oil and grease and fluids like that, that's probably what it calls to use. I put the gray on there, run it in. I've never really had any issues with anything. If I do, I'll change and tell them I'm not gonna worry about it, because I haven't ever had any issues. And again, dip your finger, make sure that it is up to there, and we're good. Go ahead and put our cap in. And I think that is pretty close. I think like 1.6 or whatever it is. Actually, probably a little more than that, but it's over half. It's about 1 3/4 bottles, quarts, is what I'm seeing there. Anyway, again, 3/8. Run it down. And for people like me, I do have a torque wrench, so I'm going to use it. 25. There we are. All right, so we'll let this sit a little bit, make sure we don't have any leaks or anything. And we'll go from there. Typically I don't have any issues just with that gray that's on there, but anyway, that's all there is to it pretty much on that Diff. And if it hasn't been clean, changing these is easy. Take your plug out, run it out, and put your plug back in, fill it like we did. You don't have to take this cover and everything off. I did, because For one, that other front locker hung up, so I know they needed cleaned out. If you don't use them, they won't, they don't like to actuate. And so anyway, I wanted to clean this out, take a look at everything, make sure there wasn't anything crazy in there, and now we're good to go for quite some time for hitting water and stuff like that. Anytime if I dunk it and it stays in the water very long, it's going to get new rear end grease when we get back, or rear end fluid like this, a change. But there was no water in this, nothing. I mean, it was clean. It obviously hadn't been changed. It's 70,000 miles, 69,000 on it. It's time, for me anyway, peace of mind for me, that's sealed up and it's got good fluid in it, and we can take off like new. It's just, I don't know how people have taken care of this. I don't know where it's been, what it's done. And better safe than sorry, and I get to go in and inspect anything that's in there anyhow. So I'd highly recommend. It's, $40 versus what, $2,000 back here. Plus if you're having somebody do it, probably more than that if you detonate a rear end just because of fluid. Every time you go out to the trail, I mean, I would check if you see any oil running down the outer seals or anything like that. Obviously you've got a leak and a bad seal. Probably, I think these have inner seals and outer seals both. But you always want to check for that. Check your rear end. I mean, it takes 2 minutes to pop that plug out, throw some gray back on it, throw it back in, and just check your fluid. I mean, my gosh, for what these things cost, it's worth the time. So you take it out and you hard wheel on it or whatever you do. I mean, check your fluids. Check your fluids and preventive maintenance like that. It goes a long ways. It's a lot cheaper. Time's a lot cheaper than paying for a new rear end. We're going to go on to something else. I've found something else on this. We had a battery light come on. And anyway, come up on the dash there, and use that indicates alternator or something to that effect. And let's bring you around here. This will be another thing that we're putting up on the board here. Anyway, the light on the dash came on. It's just a battery light, shows up in red. And I thought, this thing's been setting a little bit. I don't start very much or haven't got the opportunity to. I know we haven't really looked in the motor here or anything. I did clean this thing up a little bit. I mean, this thing was trashed underneath here, and I just did a little bit of cleaning up because it was bad. So it's been in the mud a little bit and definitely up underneath here. But this thing actually the guys put new coils on it, as you can see there. It's got all new coils and new plugs in it, which, I mean, now's about the time, or 100,000, to change that. Well, these things are not just the simplest thing to do here. As you can see in there, it's got a new oil cooler too. It has the aluminum one. He had just changed it out too. This intake wraps over, your driver's side bank of 3 cylinders. So in order to get to those coils, you got to take off the upper intake here, as you can see down in there. It splits in half, leave the lower, take the upper. Same thing with this. You have to pull everything to get that in. I don't know if you had a crack in it. They're prone to it. If you don't get on them hard all the time, when you're putting these in, put them in easy. Oil up the O-ring and this is the oil cap for the filter. If you put them in easy, I've never had one crack. I have had the O-rings leak a little bit on them and had some oil setting in there, and that's changed it because of that. But if you're good to these and don't crank on them, and mainly do it yourself and not have somebody else do it, because they just crank on them, they don't care, they're trying to get it done quick. And that's when you crack those housings. But anyway, this has got the new aftermarket aluminum one on here, and he had put this on. He said he hadn't done a lot of this stuff, but it had some codes, and I guess it had one he thought was a coil pack, so they put new coil packs on it. He pulled this intake, put all new plugs, new coil packs, and it seems to be doing fine. But anyway, I had that light come up, that P1028 code that I'd said, and that's indicating a thermostat issue. It's high-low range on the heat, cold side, and it's not open and closing correctly. But anyway, I come underneath the hood here, and I hooked a battery tender up, as you can see there, because I thought it was dead. Well, I just hit the crank on it, and I mean, it turned right over and fired right up, so it wasn't battery. I started pulling on plugs here, started filling. This is just the top plug for the battery itself, the actual main 12 there. And this little connector here snaps in right there. Well, I I grabbed this connector, pulled it off, and I mean, I didn't even have to. As you can see, the lock and everything's messed up on it, but it had this little piece of plastic in there. This was jammed in underneath here, holding this on. And I'm sure it wasn't actually somebody doing it. I'm sure just a piece of plastic just broke off somewhere, shoved itself in there to jam this on because it wouldn't stick, you know. No, somebody had obviously either broke the connector, or on this alternator, this little tag that's on here, I don't know if that's off. I haven't really looked at it real close yet. I just know that this will not lock. So what that was this thing is not, this connector, I guess, is not telling the ECM and everything that it's what the voltage is, and it obviously threw that light up there like it's not working. So that may or may not, I haven't checked to see if it's charging or anything, so I don't know if this actually lets it regulate and says, hey, you know, work, don't work. And if that's the case, obviously it's off, so it's not doing anything. So we're gonna have to further inspect and see if this, I do have another Jeep, fortunately, and I was gonna look and see if this connector looks the same. I can't really tell if it's snapped off in there. Or, like I said, the more expensive version would be they actually broke the little piece of plastic off here where it locks, because I cannot feel a little stub sticking up for it to lock. So I'm thinking it's going to be our more expensive option here, and we'll have to, because I'm not going to rig this. I'm going to be out on the trail. And another thing, if you guys have stuff like this and you're selling them, man, tell the people that you're doing that. Don't just, you know, rig it up and then I mean, I'm going to be out on the trail. If you're driving down the road, it's different. You know, it stops, you get somewhere, whatever. But man, if you're 20 miles out in the trail somewhere by yourself, and you know, this charging system goes down, and you can't, you know, you're not expecting stuff like this. I mean, that could be, it's going to be a long walk back, I guess, what I'm getting at. I'm not going to just jump into O'Reilly off the trail or have them deliver it to me. Try to do this stuff right, or at least make people aware of this. I just happened to find this because it did. I think I probably hit it when I was messing around in here, and just released it enough where that plastic was not holding that on, was not crammed in there, because they just had basically, I mean, it was just wedged in there so it would hold. So anyway, we're going to have to, we'll look at that further and see what's going on. Next, I think, we'll go to our board here first. So we got diffs. Got shocks, got brakes, got the brake lines, stabilizers on, battery cable. I just cleaned that up. I didn't ring it on there. Seat covers, floor mats, decals, dent covers, and so I think we're going to try to stick with the things so we can get and start driving this a little bit, and then we'll go to this thermostat flush and go underneath the hood and everything. We'll probably try to figure out whether it's that connector. I'll bring in probably the other Jeep, take a look at that, but I think I can't feel that little tab on there, so I think that's going to be our deal. You can order those, the connector itself, I found them for about 15 bucks online. O'Reilly's and them, they don't have it. It's not on there. They don't have it on their computers, so it's not available, but we can get it online. But I'm thinking it's not going to be that cheap. It's going to be, we're going to be replacing this alternator, because I'm not going to rig this up. I mean, I can rig it up, and I mean, Jiminy, you could solder it, do whatever you want to get these contacts on, but if we're taking this out and we're driving in the trails and everything, I'm going to do it right. A new alternator is not going to hurt it. I mean, we got 70,000. This thing may last 300,000 miles, but we'll just go with that. And I think they're 150, 200 bucks. I think they're 160 amp. I'm going to stick with the same, probably about the same. I'm not going to be drawing on this a lot. I'm not going to have all kinds of pumps and everything else hooked to this. So we'll probably just go with something like that, a good one. We'll get ready. I'll get the other Jeep. We'll take a look and see if it's connector or it's the alternator here that's actually fractured that area. All right, so I'll be back in a second.